We are here on earth to lead our lives because our consciousness must be developed so that it gathers knowledge, gathers wisdom, builds up love, peace, freedom, and harmony. The human exists in the material life on earth in order to learn, just as other humankinds do on other worlds in the entire universe.
My
name is Edward Albert Meyer, but all around the world I am simply called Billy. I received the name in Tehran when I was on the road, and since then this name has remained with me. I'd say in and of itself, my childhood was very good and very pleasant for me. I learned very much on the one hand because of my parents, and on the other hand because of an extraterrestrial called Svath, whom I got to know in 1942.
How old were you then?
I was 5 years old. And this man, Svath, taught me very much of my school knowledge, besides many other things, just as Pastor Emanuel Zimmerman did. Then I confided in the pastor, and he told me I did not need to be afraid. He explained to me what telepathy is.
Dem Vorherrn anvertraut, der hat gesagt, dass ich keine Angst haben muss. Der hat mir erklärt, was die Telepathie ist.
Whenever I ran off, Svath helped me to hide somewhere, or he took me in his spaceship, and he flew somewhere with me where we could talk and where I could learn from him. I joined the French Foreign Legion because I simply wanted to leave everything behind me, the false accusations and so forth. I wanted to elude the court, and then when I was in the Legion, I came to the conclusion that that was not the correct way. That's why I returned to Switzerland, and I gave myself up to the authorities, who locked me up in an institution for more than 2 years.
Anstalt eingelocht für mehr als 2 Jahre. Die Reisen, die habe ich jeweils dadurch.
In each case, I financed the travels by working underway, as is customary and right, to honestly make my way through life. Now and then, Svath also took me to various government people who I met and with whom I could speak, and indeed, through a speech translator, the small translation device which had been fastened on my belt or breast pocket, and so each time I could have a conversation with the concerned person without problems. Svath had previously been with each of these people who he had introduced to me. He had had conversations with them, and he was known by them as an extraterrestrial. There were various persons, for example, Gandhi in India, Farouk down in Egypt, and in Abyssinia, in today's Ethiopia, I met Selassie. I met Saddam Hussein during one of my travels down in Baghdad. At that time, he was about the same age as I was, about 22 years old, I think. I don't know any more precisely because it was a long time ago. He was already someone who had turned to crime and who said that if he could one day somehow take control, he would do everything to be recognized by the people, even if he had to play the role of a holy person.
Dann würde alles tun, vom Volk anerkannt zu werden, selbst wenn einen Heiligen spielen müsste. Als Svath.
When Svath died in the early 50s, I was contacted by a female voice. A short time later, a young woman named Asket appeared, who then took up contact with me. And these contacts lasted for another 11 years.
Diese Kontakte haben dann wiederum 11 Jahre lang gedauert. Mit Asket bin ich dann auch durch die Gegend gereist.
Together with Asket, I traveled around and was also able to make various trips into the past with her and also into the future, but I don't want to talk about the travels into the future. I not only told friends but also other people about the future, and some of them even misused that information and tried to make money from it and were sentenced and imprisoned. When Emmanuel lived, who was later falsely named Jesus Christ, and who never had anything to do with the religion which was made from his teaching. Emmanuel was not an extraterrestrial. He was therefore a human being from this world, begotten by an extraterrestrial with a terrestrial woman named Mary, and was born here on the earth as an earth human.
Und hier auf der Erde als Erdenmensch geboren.
And why did Ascot present you to him?
I don't actually want to say anything about that. When I was in India in 1964, I lived in the Asoka ashram outside of Morali with a monk named Dharmawara, from whom I also learned a great deal. It was then that the opportunity arose for the first time for me to photograph spaceships, that is to say, beam ships. When another bus, whose driver was drunk, drove towards us and rammed us, I was hurled out the window and my left arm was smashed and crushed to such a degree that it had to be amputated.
Den hat es derart zertrümmert und zerquetscht, dass wegoperiert werden musste. Wobei ich jedoch nach dem Unfall, das muss gesagt sein.
Whereby it must be said that after the accident I first went down to Kuwait delirious. What I had done simply wasn't appropriate. I don't want to be persuaded into talking about it. Ascot told me that through this I will learn things with regard to self-control, dealing with my own thoughts and feelings, my psychology, and so forth. And it turned out that actually she had been right.
Eigene Psychologie und so weiter und so fort. Und das hat sich dann tatsächlich auch so ergeben. Meine Frau, die habe ich dann in Griechenland nach meinem...
I met my wife in Greece after my accident in Iskenderun.
Geholfen hat uns die Polizei Korinthos, damit wir überhaupt...
The Corinth police helped us get the wedding papers, and then we were officially arrested, only to be told at the police station, well, you are now married and there is nothing we can hold against you.
Und dann auf dem Polizeiposten erklärt wurde, ja, ihr seid ja jetzt verheiratet, jetzt können wir nichts mehr tun. Mein Entschluss...
My decision to marry this girl had to do with an explanation by Ascot in the 50s and earlier by Svath that I would meet this girl one day and marry her. And it really turned out that quite bad things resulted and that my marriage wasn't happy and so on and so forth.
Dass meine Ehe nicht glücklich verlaufen würde und so weiter und so fort. Und das hat sich dann auch tatsächlich zugetragen. Die Begründung...
Ascot's and Svath's explanation was, were I to marry Calliope, I would settle down and would begin my mission and would perform this mission no matter what. Where the road enters the forest, there was a pile of long logs and very good photographs were taken there.
Wo gehen wir jetzt gerade hin, Billy? Where are we going, Billy?
Down to Lower Satellik, where we were able to take photographs of Semjase's beam ship.
Mit dem Strahlschiff von Semjase. Wenn ich Aufnahmen machen konnte, das war sehr selten.
When I could take photographs, it was very unusual that other people, group members, could go with me and take photographs themselves. As a rule, I always had to go alone. Back there, long logs were lying where the road curves, and beyond, at the curve just in front of the forest, there where it goes into the forest, I once made recordings of the whirring sounds of Semjase's beam ship. You could hear it over a very big area, up to a distance of 4 kilometers.
Wendell
Stevens, Lee Elders, and Tom Welch got a measuring device from Weil Limited up in Teil.
Das ist eine Firma mit elektronischen Geräten.
A company with electronic devices, and measured the distance from here to there about 380 meters, which made it possible for the sounds to be recorded from here.